Hello, Assalamualaikum. We are from Group 4 and are choosing topic of plastic pollution for our second assessment. So, what is plastic pollution? Plastic pollution is actually one of solid waste that is becoming a become a bigger issue that nowadays. So, what is plastic pollution? Plastic pollution is pollution that we can see everywhere in our house, in our daily life, in our workplace. We use it frequently for food packaging, for our sharing with our person to buy something, anything. We can see every single place. So why this called is a pollution? It is because plastic is containing a chemical inside it. It takes more than 100 years or even a decade to compose this thing. This is because plastic is becoming a pollution because it can harm the environment. So, what are we going to talk today? Me and my friends are going to discuss about 3 things. We're going to discuss on who are making this pollution. Is it from a human activity? Is it from a natural phenomena? Or is it from management practices? And if is it become from them, how does it happen? So let's discuss it with my friends.
How human activities affect plastic pollution. Plastic pollution is caused because human has overused them. As plastic is less expensive, it is one of the most available and overused item in the world nowadays. Rapid urbanization and population growth increase the demand on cheap plastic. Since it is affordable and durable materials, it is used in every other way possible, from food packaging materials, plastic bottles, plastic straws, plastic bags, and etc. As the world population continue to grow, so does the garbage that people produce. Plastic takes about 400 years or even more to decompose. However, the disposal of plastics is always mismanaged, and it has led to the end up into the landfill and the ocean. This has created a problem and negative impact to the environment, to human health, or even to the wildlife and the biodiversity.
Hi everyone, my name is Suhaila and I'm going to share how the plastic getting transferred by the natural phenomena. Did you know how the plastic getting transferred to oceans? I have some point to share with you, all of you. As you know, natural disasters such as tornado, flooding, tsunami, earthquake, and so on also contribute to plastic pollution. How does this happen? First, the tornado. The tornado will lift up the plastic waste and bring it to other place, which is end up in our precious ocean. The plastic is very light and easily flow if there has wind. So, if you search the tornado in Google or YouTube, you might see the tornado bring the waste to other place. Second is tsunami, which is related to water disaster. Usually, the flood occurs when the drain gutter is blocking by solid waste. The flood will bring the plastic waste material to other places and lastly transfer to oceans. Third is earthquake, the movement of the shaking surface of Earth resulting from sudden release of energy in the Earth lithosphere that creates seismic wave. Generally, the building bridge dam, factories, monument collapse, fire start, communication line, and power plant, including drinking water and sewer system damaged during the earthquake. The damage contains solid waste, will getting transferred by flooding, sewer system, and also transferred by animals. fourth point is littering. Plastic bottle and packaging littered in our streets and beaches can be blown into drains, rivers, and flow into the sea. It can cause indigestion and danger to marine life. For example, the sea turtle. If there are plastic grocery bags floating in the oceans, the sea turtle may mistake that the food, such as jelly, which is its love to eat. Next is urban runoff, that dirty water come from our city. Through the storm drain as a little gutter on the street, those made up with pipes and channels. Everything in from the microbeads in our toothpaste to synthetic clothing fiber that shit in our washing machine and wet wipes flush down to the loo and so end up following to the ocean. Last but not least, landfill. Mountain of plastic in dump can be blown away and end up in the sea. The more plastic that produce, the more end up to oceans. It floats on ocean current across the world. Even so, uninhabited islands in Pacific and the Arctic are becoming dumping grounds for plastic. So, throwing the waste to the oceans is very bad manner to environment. We should respect and be responsible for our actions. That's all from me. I will pass this waste to the next person.
So, do you ever wondering what will happen if these plastics goes into the ocean? You must be familiar with microplastics, a small pieces of plastics that is less than 5 millimeter in length, according to the US National Oceanic and Atmosphere Administration. There are two classifications of microplastics, which are primary microplastics and secondary microplastics. Primary microplastics are plastic fragments or particles that are already 5 millimeter in size or less before entering the environment. So primary microplastics includes microfibers from clothing, microbeads, and plastic pellets, whereas secondary microplastics are microplastics that are created from the degradation of larger plastic products once they enter the environment through natural weathering processes. The example of secondary microplastics includes water and soda bottles, fishing nets, and plastic bags. So why is it really fatal to marine life such as seals, dolphins, whales, seabirds, fish, or even crabs? Microplastics can become embedded in the animal's tissue or organs through ingestion or respiration. Many crustaceans like the show crab Carcinus maina have been seen to integrate microplastics into both their respiratory and digestive tracts. The zooplankton, who often mistake the microplastics as the phytoplankton, will ingest those microplastics bits and excrete fecal matter that have been contaminated with microplastics. The microplastics will stick to their appendages and the exoskeleton of the zooplankton. You see, it can be really hard when the microplastics involve into the food chain. For example, the microplastics-laden animals being consumed by the predator, the microplastics are then incorporated into the bodies of higher trophic level feeders. Microplastic also can absorb chemical pollutants that can be transferred from organisms' tissue. Small animals are at risk of reduce the food intake due to false satiation or other physical harm resulted from the microplastics. So, what will happen if humans consume fish or other marine animals that being contaminated with microplastics? Ingested microplastics particles can physically damage human organs and leach hazardous chemicals from the hormone disrupting bisphenol A to pesticides that can compromise immune function and stimulate growth and reproduction. Microplastics that being transferred to human body can lead to physical damage such as inflammation, caused by particles jabbing and rubbing against the organ wall. Researchers also have found the sign that ingested microplastics can leach hazardous chemicals, both those added to the polymers during the production and environmental pollutants such as the pesticides that are attracted to the surface of the plastic, leading to health effects such as the liver damage. Wow, we will recommend to eat fish, which is really good to our health, especially to reduce the cardiovascular disease, but yet we got another disease instead. So here we can conclude that plastic pollution can lead to the productions of microplastics, which is really harmful to the environment, including to human health. However, this matter can be avoided if we stop dumping solid waste that consists of plastics into the ocean and ban the usage of products that contain microplastics as the ingredient. One such campaign is Beat the Microplastics, which focus on removing the microplastic from personal care products. Reduce the usage of plastic products in daily life, such as the plastic bags or plastic bottles, and replace it with reusable shopping bag and water bottles. So that is the effect of plastics pollution. It's your turn.
Hello, good afternoon. I'm discussing about plastic pollution, how ineffective management practices help cause plastic pollution. Plastic has become an integral part of our daily life, although plastic is non-biodegradable, which generally remains a lingering waste plastic for years and for generations to come. The plastic waste into the land contaminates the soil, underground water, with harmful chemicals and microorganisms. The effects of marine life pollution are immeasurable. The global plastic production is about 7.8 billion tons. 4,600 million tons went straight into landfill or was discarded, while 500 million tons were recycled totally, from where 8 million tons of plastic goes straight into the ocean. Ineffective management practices have seen the plastic pollution on a surge because of too much production, too much of usage, and less recycling. The cheap prices of plastic also tends to pollution, which people easily discharges it.
Plastic. It is not just the volume of plastic that is at fault here. It is how we manage these materials after we have used them that is the problem. Over 300 million tons of plastic are produced every year. The world uses 500 billion single-use plastic bags every year. But unfortunately, plastic pollution, particularly of the oceans, has become a major global issue nowadays. Some of the rich countries sell their plastic waste to the developing countries, including Malaysia. And another practice is that people doesn't know the proper way to separate the only type of plastic that can be recycled. Some of them just simply throw the plastic in the general daily waste. Thus, plastic pollution should be reduced by more effective management by the nation starting now. Oh, now we're back with our second question. So, how world or countries should attack or tackle these issues, the issues of plastic pollution? So what are we gonna do? So, based on my own opinion, countries or world should stricten your laws and regulations, such as make a fine if they saw someone who littering this plastic pollution, or also we could hoping for that laws and regulation can stricten the price of every plastic they're requesting in a shopping mall. As we can see nowadays, every plastic that we've been requesting in a mall is only charged 20 cents. 20 cents is just a small amount. Some shopping malls also hike their price for 50 cents with some quality plastic, but still it's just 50 cents. 50 cents is not enough, it's still too cheap. People nowadays can pay like this. So we need a higher price. We need a higher price so that people can realize that they have to pay a lot if they are requesting for a plastic. So this way it can make that people manage to bring their own shopping bag instead of requesting for plastic. So by doing this, treating this laws and regulation, by increasing the price of a plastic in a shopping mall, people will scared to buy, so they will bring their own shopping bag. So we can help to reduce this plastic pollution. We can help to reduce the plastic that being dumped in the landfills. We can help the plastic from being produced a lot in the plastic factories. So I really hope that laws and regulation by the countries, by the governments, by the world should stricten the consuming of this plastic. It's a lot of things can be used, such as a paper bag or a tote bag. It is eco-friendly, it is sustainable. So really, I really hope that this laws and regulation can be strictened. Thank you.
In my opinion, first it has to start with ourselves. We ourselves need to start to reduce to use single-use plastic in our daily life by refuse to use them. For example, we can even drink without a straw, or we can change plastic straw into metal straw, and we can bring our own reusable food packaging, and we can bring our own shopping bag when we go for grocery shopping. This is to reduce the amount of plastic that end up into the landfill. Second one is we can recycle properly. What it's mean by recycle properly is before we send our garbage or waste into the landfill or incinerator, we have to separate them into recyclable and non-recyclable materials. As for plastic, there is recyclable plastic and non-recyclable plastic, so we need to separate them and recycle the recyclable plastic. As at present time, only 9% of the plastic is recycled worldwide. This is just a little amount of plastic that has been recycled. So thirdly is by participate or even organize beach or river cleanup to fight ocean plastic pollution. We can even join international event like International Coastal Cleanup to clean our ocean, as we know our ocean has been polluted by plastic in a big area nowadays. As for the country, they can tackle this problem by through taxes and ban on plastic bags. It can be tackled by enforcing our policies on plastic use, especially in the shopping mall.
Government must protect ecosystem keys to fight against climate change. River, wetland, oceans, forests and mangrove absorb large quantity of carbon, slowing warming. Mangrove also serve as a barrier against tropical storm, and wetland absorb excess water from floods. Both extreme weather events made worse by climate change. Second is Asia Pacific. United Nations environmental programs focus on improving understanding and sharing knowledge on science, policy and the best practices. Second, assessing technology's need and facilitating technology transfer for adaptations and mitigations. Next is integrating climate change into national and sectoral policy and plans. Last but not least, facilitating readiness for and access to finance. For example, program under United Nations or known as UNEP. First is promoting energy technology in Central Asia and supporting least developed countries to participate effectively in intergovernmental negotiations. The third point, how the country tackling this problem is there are 195 states signed in the Paris Agreement. This is the most important pact for international cooperation on tackling climate change, and countries are taking steps to deliver on it. By signing the agreements, countries have committed to submitting and delivering on their own voluntary pledges that set out how they will lower their emissions and adapt to climate change. Fourth, introduce legislations to prohibit retailers from distributing single-use, non-biodegradable plastic bags. So, the EPEC strictly enforce the ban by confiscating illicit bags and denying business license renewal for offenders. It's been done by Mexico City. Last but not least, the campaign by UNEP, which is #CleanSea campaign. UNEP launched the Clean Sea campaign in 2017 to engage stakeholders from all sectors to fight pollution of plastic in the oceans. And the next campaign is #Beat Plastic Pollution campaign. The hashtag campaign is focus of 2018 World Environment Day organized by United Nations.
Plastic bags were once a modern convenience, but can be effectively replaced by reusable bags, many of which fold up compatibly in order to be portable. Just think of how many plastic bags you typically carry out of the grocery store. Multiply it by the number of times you go to the grocery store, you will see that there's a lot of plastic. Number 2, get rid of bottled water. People are meant to drink lots of water each day, and plastic water has become a great way to stay hydrated throughout the day. However, most of these only are recommended for single use, and that means that every time someone finishes a bottle of water, it goes into trash. So many companies now sell reusable plastic bottle as substitute, reducing plastic waste and exposure to leaking bottles. Number 3, educate businesses. Speak to local restaurants and businesses about options that can switch to packaging, storage, and bagging items. Many companies are now starting up with excellent low-cost replacements, such as the bamboo, which can be used in place of straw in the restaurants. Get involved. Speak to local lawmakers and get involved with government at any level, and you will see how much special interest group of people have made, so that we are dependent of plastic without needing to be. Encourage development of items and propose alternative when applicable. Recycle everything. Try and select items that come in non-plastic, recycled, or recyclable packaging to do your best to probably handle items that can't be used. Check everything before you put them into trash, and more items are able to be recycled these days. So here is a list of governments/organizations that are taking steps to reduce plastic consumption and production. For example, in June 2019, Prime Minister of Canada announced that in addition to banning single-use plastic, his government would take up unspecific steps to reduce plastic production. In Peru, visitors will no longer be allowed to carry in single-use plastic into Peru. Santiago in United States have joined a growing number of cities to ban containers made of polystyrene.
Most of developed and developing countries have realized that plastic is one of the major pollution in the world. Many wealthy countries send their recycled waste overseas because it's cheap. It is cheap, helps with recycling targets, and also reduce their domestic landfill. For developing countries, they are taking the advantage into the rubbish because it is valuable source of income. But contaminated plastic and rubbish that cannot be recycled often gets mixed in and end up in illegal processing centers. So Malaysia has sent back 150 shipping containers of plastic waste to rich countries including the United States, United Kingdom, France, and Canada, insisting it won't be the garbage dump of the world. A recent Greenpeace report found that during the first 7 months of 2018, plastic waste exported from the US to Malaysia more than doubled compared with the previous year. Plastic waste exported from the US to Malaysia more than doubled compared with the previous year. The country has been inundated with shipments of illegal plastic waste since 2018, when China cracked down on a large recycling industry. China banned imports of plastic waste 2 years ago as part of an initiative to clean up its environment. That move caused a ripple effect through global supply chain, as middlemen sought new destinations for their trash, including Malaysia. And there's actually a lot more of actions that have been done by the country or any agencies to tackle this plastic pollution.
Okay, now we'll jump to the conclusion. But before we jump in, we're going to share a little bit about what government can do. So, what is SDG all about? SDG is standing for Sustainable Development Goals. So, by following the SDG, we're going to follow the guidelines on how to sustain our environment for the future generation, to conserve and preserve for our future environment. So, how we can do? In SDG is complete with all the guidelines that we can follow to protect our environment. So, into controlling the plastic pollution is one of it. So, governments can follow the SDGs of the development goals. So by following the SDG, government can help to reduce these plastic pollution issues, or maybe one day we can make it a zero plastic solution issues. Okay, now we're back to our conclusion. So based on my own opinions, based on my own knowledge, what conclusion can I conclude from this assessment, which is regarding on the plastic pollution, is we must stand together, fight together to reduce these plastic pollution issues. We need to stand together to help the natures, to help our mother natures, to help our environment, to reduce this plastic pollution, because once we are helping our own self, we are also helping this nature. Hashtag together save the natures. Okay.
In a nutshell, I would like to say that plastic pollution is made by both human activities and the natural phenomena. However, as a human being, we are responsible for the pollution that we have made to the environment. In order to reduce or stop plastic pollution, even though we know it's hard to stop pollution, we can now start our small action to reduce plastic pollution as by playing our role as an individual, private sectors, NGOs, and local authorities, and even the government, to reduce this plastic pollution by implement the SDGs that has been translated into our legislation. The SDGs that is related to plastic pollution is SDGs number 6, which is to ensure sustainability and sustainable management of water and sanitation for all. SDGs number 12, which is to ensure sustainable consumption and production pattern, and SDGs number 13, which is to take urgent action to combat climate change and its impacts, and SDGs number 14, which is to conserve and sustainably use the ocean, seas, and marine resources for sustainable development. And last but not least, SDGs number 15, which is to protect, restore, and promote sustainable use of terrestrial ecosystem, sustainably manage forests, combat desertification, and halt and reserve land degradation, and halt biodiversity loss. So we can start to conserve our earth from now by implementing these SDGs in our daily life to ensure our environment will be more less polluted by our activities.
Several measures that can be taken to reduce the risk and threats of plastic waste and plastic pollution, including the following: placing cleanup equipment near the coast where too much plastic production originates, managing mismanaged plastic waste, reducing plastic waste generation, preventing illegal plastic waste dumping, curbing the growth of single-use plastics via ban levy tax on plastic bags. With the help of these few practices, the plastic production pollution in the world can be reduced significantly.
As a conclusion, our environment is getting sick day by day due to plastic pollution, especially in the marine ecosystem. So as individuals, we should start giving a big impact with our small action. First, we can avoid single use of plastic by start to use reusable shopping bag to shop. For example, we can use this bag or this paper bag. And also, we can also reuse the plastic that's still in a good condition, such as this parcel wrapping that can be used as the garbage bag or trash bin bag. Yeah, because it is thick. So I think that's all. So let us together to reduce plastic pollution in our world, starting from our small action. Thank you.